What's up, everybody? Coming at you today with a live video. So I'm not going to have any little graphics to kind of keep you more engaged. I will say that this video deals with worldviews, aka religion. So if that's something that you're not interested in, just get out of here real quick, all right? Cool? All right, so I recently made a video and the description was when you say all worldviews are true. In this video, I'm going to talk about when you say all worldviews are the same. It's a subtle distinction, but I believe it's very significant, okay? So if you're kind of confused by the premise, I believe most of us have heard this before, or maybe you share this sentiment. But the underlying premise is you have, let's say, Christianity, right? Islam, Judaism, Buddhism. You have these different worldviews. So some people will say that at the foundation of these worldviews, they're all essentially saying the same thing. When you look at the top, all the little details, they're different, okay? So let's go ahead and discuss that and kind of see, where we can get, all right? So I'm going to cover three main categories here. So you have Christianity, since most of the world, I think it's about 32% of the world, identifies as Christian. Then you have Islam. You have about, I think it's 25% of the world identifies as Muslim. And then you have everybody else. You have secular, you have all the other religions, okay? Now, the reason why I'm clumping it into these three categories is because I find it real interesting when it comes to discussing this topic that all worldviews are the same. Most of the world's worldview is contingent on how we see and interpret Jesus Christ. And I know that sounds crazy. And before you tune me out, kind of hear me out here for a moment, okay? So you have Christians. I'm just going to generalize these three groups, okay? You have Christians. There's different denominations, I understand that. But in general, Christians will say that they believe that God came to the earth in the form of man, Jesus Christ, and died on the cross for the sins of humanity. At the essence of what Christianity is, that's what it is. That's what they believe, okay? Now, in Islam, they believe that Jesus was a prophet, so they do believe he was from God, but he was not God himself. They believe that he was on the cross, about to be crucified, and God came in and snatched him up and switched him out with some other guy. Now, you have everybody else that believes that Jesus is just some dude, just some guy, okay? Now, if you can kind of see where I'm going with this, for the most part, how we view the world, just think about that. Christians, their whole identity is based on that fact that Jesus is the Son of God, that he died on the cross. You have Muslims that say, no, he didn't die on the cross. Some other guy died on the cross, and he wasn't God anyway. And then you have everybody else that says Jesus is some guy. So part of my challenge in saying that all religions are the same is how do you rectify that when you have those blaring core fundamental differences? How can you say that they're all the same when they're interpreting Jesus in a different way? Okay, I'm going to reverse my stance here. Okay, I'm going to go wishy-washy now, okay? At the same time, I do agree with the premise that at the core of most religions, they're all essentially saying the same thing. Even if you look at the Ten Commandments, the Ten Commandments are consistent. Judaism, Islam, Christianity all have the Ten Commandments. In the Bible, I am Christian, it says that the law, the Word of God, is written on your heart. So I believe that is true, and that will manifest itself in different ways, okay? This might be a horrible analogy, and I probably should have thought this through a little bit better. But maybe let me put it like this, and hopefully it can provide some clarity, okay? Because I do believe that religion, worldviews are very much the same, but I feel like there are some core distinctions that really make a big difference, okay? So think about it like this. Imagine if you had a piece of paper. That piece of paper represents the physical world. Now, behind that paper, let's just say you have the spiritual world. Some people don't acknowledge that reality. They say all that there is just material stuff. There is no spiritual world. So we'll call those people atheists. They fit within their own bracket there, okay? Now, you have other people that are interpreting an imprint from that spiritual world onto that paper. So imagine if I have the paper, I press it onto whatever that is behind it, and I just go and I get a crayon and I start pressing on it, right? So there's going to be an image that presents itself through. Now, think of that image that's presenting itself through like a map. So I think that all the different worldviews are essentially looking at a map and claiming that their map is more accurate or more true to what the world really is in the spiritual realm, and also in this physical realm as well. So in some regard, you can say, yes, they're all maps. You can look at certain aspects of the maps and say, yes, look, this is the same as this map. Look how they're lining up. But I believe that there are some core differences. Like imagine if you're trying to get to your friend's house, and instead of going left, you go right. Are you going to wind up in the same destination? I feel like you could wind up in a completely different place if you're not following the most accurate map. So that's why I think truth is highly important when it comes to looking at everything. So anyway, guys, that's the video. I'm interested on what you guys think as far as different worldviews. Are you one of those people that believe that every single worldview is essentially saying the same thing? And to a large degree, I agree with that. I'm kind of being wishy-washy there on that stance, but I do think there are some core fundamental distinctions. And part of the reason why I wanted to make this video, too, is because I've talked to people that I feel like haven't really thought about these core fundamental differences. Like I'm talking to a Christian, and they'll say, yes, I believe, let's say, Jesus is the Son of God. Yes, I believe that he died on the cross, right? But then in the same breath, they'll say, well, I think Islam is true too. And that could be true if you believe that what's in your mind trumps physical reality. Meaning, if you believe that Jesus died on the cross, then that actually happened in your world. If you believe that he didn't, then he didn't. If I believe that the world is flat, then the world is flat literally in my mind. If I believe that the world is a sphere, then the world is a sphere. But I think that most of us don't think like that. I think most of us think you have the world, and then our minds have to shift around that reality. So if that's how you think, then you can't have the stance that each one of the worldviews are true, because there are distinct contradictions that don't allow them to fit in the same box. And that's just the reality of the situation. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate you. That's it for the video. God bless you all. Peace!